Hi, and welcome to day one of the Freebie Bootcamp. How to talk about the buyer's journey and psychology of sales. So I'm just going to wait a little while to see if anybody joins. And please let me know, because I'm using another microphone here. So can you hear me? Can you everybody hear me all right? Please, please let me know. So, okay, it seems people are starting to join. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Natalie. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Hi, Anna. Yes, okay, you can hear it. Perfect. It's the first time I'm using this. It's very fancy. I bought it for the upcoming course that I am making. So, okay, today we're going to talk about the buyer's journey, which is actually fundamental for your marketing, because people don't just wake up one morning saying, hey, I want what you've got. So we're going to talk about the buyer's journey. Then for those of you who are new to me, I am a sucker for everything related to the brain. Why do people do what we do? How does the brain work and make us decide on what we want to do? So I'm going to give you some brain facts and then some basic psychology of sales. So if you think that is great, let me know. And I'm just going to start. So buyer's journey is the research phase that a buyer goes from the beginning of when she notices, hey, I have a problem. She might not know exactly what the problem is, but just she knows something is wrong. At this time, she's probably not aware of your business, and she's probably not aware of that she needs your offering. So at this stage of the buyer's journey, your job is not to try to sell your product, but it's to make her aware of you, make her aware of your business and your offerings, but in a non-salesy way, because if she doesn't know that she needs you, why does she want to buy from you? So what you should do instead is focus on the buyer's pain points instead of your product or brand. Excuse me, I'm going to need some tea here. Okay, next step is called the consideration stage. At this point in the buyer's journey, the user or your potential buyer maybe gets a feeling of what the problem is. So let's say that she's stressed at work and stressed at home probably. So at the consideration stage, she's finding out that, okay, this is stress. So she's starting to research, what can I do to relieve this stress? So she's thinking different alternative ways to ease the stress. So she might consider meditation, or being more effective, or getting a virtual assistant to help her out. There can be many different ways for her. So she knows it's something with stress, and she researches different kind of things that can help her relieve this problem. So at this stage, you should probably try to educate her more on what it is that you can do to help her. Educate her within, well, if you say, let's say you're a stress coach for this example. So you would educate her on how to relieve her stress. And of course, don't give her the whole thing, but give her a snippet for free of your offering, so that she knows more about you and your business, and can consider you as one of the options, because at the next stage of the buyer's journey, that is the decision. So here she compiles a list of the different alternatives, and at this point she's made a decision, whether it's meditation or it's a stress coach or it's productivity hacks, whatever. She's found out, okay, this is what I'm going to do. At this point you could go even deeper. We'll cover this a lot more in the coming days, but this is so fundamental that I wanted to give you this information to begin with. So at this point, she's making the final decisions. And this is where you should have your clear call to action to buy your product. My throat is really acting up, sorry. Okay, this was a basic buyer's journey, and we will cover it later in the upcoming days, but it's so fundamental that I wanted to cover this. Okay, so back to me and my nerdy love of the brain. So I'm gonna give you 5 facts about the brain that you can use in your marketing, in your sales, and well, many things in life actually. So the thing with the brain is that we humans, we have lived for thousands of years, and our brains have actually not developed as much as you might think. There are many things that we do which is based on something way, way back. So one of the things is that because of our need to survive back in the savannah or whatever, our brain is basically self-centered. And I know, especially if you're a heart-centered entrepreneur, you might say, I'm not selfish, but basically you are at one level or another. So whenever you see something, you instinctively think, what is this? Is this relevant for me, or is it not relevant for me? Should I care? So what can you do with this knowledge? Well, when you market your business, when you market your freebie, whenever you talk to somebody, you can think, okay, what do they want to get out of this? How should I structure what I say, what I do in a way that the other person knows, this is what I'll get out of it. The thing that many entrepreneurs mistakenly do is they're so self-centered in their little box of what they do that they actually forget to look at it from the customer point of view. So this, if you take anything away from this today, take this away from it. What is in it for me? Ask yourself that question. And with me is, of course, your customers. So that was brain fact number 1. Brain fact number 2 is related to the first one, actually. The brain uses so much energy when it thinks. And since we were made to survive, the brain is actually trying to conserve energy all the time, because we had to be able to run if a predator came after us and still have energy to fight for our food. So the brain is constantly trying to preserve energy. And that what that does is that it's constantly trying to scan everything in the surroundings and saying, okay, is this something I need to think of, or shouldn't I? So how can you use that? Well, if you have too much text, too much clutter, too much different information at the same time, what will happen is actually that the brain thinks, phew, too much information, I can't handle that. So the basic thing is keep it simple. Make it so clear what it is that you do, how it is that you help people, and if it's relevant for them, but make it so clear for them. I just want to make sure that I'm actually remembering to say anything. Oh yeah, regarding the make it simple, my copywriter guru, Donald Miller, he talks about something called the grunt test. So what that basically is that if you take your website in front of a caveman, let's say that the caveman could read, but if you put your website in front of a caveman, would he be able to immediately grunt, what is it that you do? That is really good exercise. So make it easy to grasp. And if you give too much information, if people get information overload, they actually can't make any decisions. And that's kind of a killer if you're trying to sell something. So another thing with our brain is that we're actually a tribe animal. So we're used to being in a flock. And a flock usually has a leader. So we're used to being guided. We're used to having somebody show us the direction. And even though we want to be so self-dependent, we do look to others for what they do, what they recommend. And this is something that you can use in your marketing in general. Be the authority. Don't tell people what to do, but show them how to do or what to do. Because people are, they're used to looking for others for making their decisions. So it actually helps people in their decision-making process. The fifth brain fact that I want to tell you is that people buy from people. It's not necessarily the best product that people buys. It's where you can feel the person behind. And when I say product, it's service-based. So for everything that I'm talking about is for service-based businesses. So people buy from people. And again, it's because of our innate drive to belong to a tribe, to be part of something. So we're most comfortable with people that we know, people that we like, and people that we feel that we can trust. So make sure that you are showing yourself. Make sure that you show part of who you are, and not just a picture perfect thing, but the real you, the you that makes mistakes, the you that has to drink tea and laugh at her own jokes even though they might not be funny. Whatever it is that is you, be you. And I'm terrible at that myself, but I'm trying. So, and that brings me to the next part, which is, and I know you've heard it before, but I really need to make a clear line. Know, like, and trusts. It's so important. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why after I've had a sip of my tea. Okay, so the first part, know. Actually, I want to take it even a step further back. You need to be absolutely clear on who it is that you want to help. I know so many service-based entrepreneurs who say, oh, but there are so many people who can benefit from what I do. I can help everybody. And probably you could. But if you try to communicate to everybody, you'll resonate with nobody. If you try to communicate to everybody, you'll be bland, you'll be generic, and they won't be able to feel you. They won't resonate with you. We'll talk about more about this in the next coming days, but people make decisions based on emotions. So you want them to feel who you are. So you need to get clear on who it is that you want to help. And then you need to know, what is it that they need? What is it that they fear? What is it that they aspire to? And you need to use that in your communication. And of course, you need to use it for your freebie. So what I would recommend you to do is to make a buyer persona or custom avatar. It has many names, and you can just Google it, and there will be plenty of tutorials of how to do it. So I don't want to bother you with that, but just Google buyer persona or customer avatar and try to make one for yourself based on some of these guides. Okay, so first know who it is that you want to help, because when you know the exact kind of person that you want to help, you will also know where to find them, which comes back to the know in the know, like, and trust. So if you know where they are, you can market to them. You can make them aware of you. I'm just making sure I'm saying everything here. Yeah, make them aware of you. So basically, if you want people to know you, you want them to be aware of you, you have two options. Either you can pay with money using Facebook ads or Google ads, banners, etc. Or you can pay with your time. You can make blog posts, you can do Pinterest, you can do Facebook groups like this one, and be very active there. You can go into online forums like Quora or Reddit and be active there, where you're, of course it should be a subreddit where your buyer persona, where she would hang out or he would hang out, whoever your buyer persona is. Answer questions, start conversations, help them. You can do podcasts, everything which is social. So pay with money or pay with time, or you can do both, depends. Okay, so that was the no. So find out who you want to help, the buyer persona, find out where they are, and then get them to know you, either with paid ads or with being active with blog posts, etc. Okay, then we have the like factor. This is actually a pretty important point for me. Don't try to please everybody. It goes back to, you don't want to market to everybody. Don't try to please everybody. Again, if you try to please everybody, then you won't be you. You won't be authentic. So the goal is not to make everybody like you, because again, if you market to everybody, you really won't resonate with anybody. And also, if you know exactly who it is that you're speaking to, every time you sit down and write, then you will write in a way that they will feel connected. They will feel like, oh, she's speaking directly to me. And it feels like that. If you really, really know who it is that you have as a target market or as your buyer persona, they will feel so connected. They'll feel so aligned with you. And then they will like you because they feel like you're the same. Like you're knowing them knowing their thoughts and their heart. So that's another part of the like factor. Be authentic. Be you. That is what people will when people will like you. Because if you're trying to be like somebody else, if you have a person you think, oh, this person is who I want to be, and you try to be like them, it will come off as inauthentic. People will notice, and they might not know what it is, but they will know something's off. So just be you. And be relevant. That's another part of the like factor. Be relevant to your target audience. So listen to their conversations on social media, research them, find out what it is that they struggle with, and ask questions. You can do polls, etc. Find out what is it that they want to know, and be relevant. So help them with that, because then they will like you. And then put a face to your name. I know that there are people that truly want to help, and they don't have their own picture on their business. Either it's their Facebook page or even group or even website. Going back to people buy from people, if they don't see you, they don't really know you. And if they don't really know you, how can they like you? So I hate being on camera, and I'm here on camera because I know it's important. And I will eventually learn to be better at it. So do the same. Try to have a picture on, and you'll know that it will make a difference, because people will know who you are, and they will thereby better be able to like you, because then they know who you are. So that was the last part of like, and then of course we have trust. And I need a sip of tea. Okay, there are many ways to get trust. So, but one of them is consistency. Try to be consistent with what you do. For instance, if you have, if you are very active in a bit of period of time, and then suddenly they don't hear from you, they will feel, well, I don't know, like, where is she? They can't probably put a word on what is wrong, but they'll know something is off. Congruency, make it all work together. If your website is pink and has sprinkles on or whatever, and you're more like the conservative type, it just doesn't go together. And people will think, what's up with that? I don't trust this. So find out, again, going back to being authentic, but it's also the congruency between what it is that you do. Clarity, going back to the brain fact that I talked about earlier, make it very clear. When people meet you or on your website or whatever you do relating to you and your business, people should immediately get a sense of what you're all about and what's your business about. And I know right now people are not very clear with what my business is about, because it's a working process. I'm building some courses, and before I'm doing that, I'm not communicating what I'm doing that much. So right now I'm just building up authority, hopefully, and know, like, and trust factor. But I haven't actually been communicating clearly. So don't do my mistake. But I know that I am doing the mistake though. So communicate. You need to communicate. Just focus on letting people know what it is that you do, but in a non-spammy way, just by helping them, by showing up, by answering questions. They'll thereby get a sense of you, and they'll say, hey, I trust this person. This person knows what she's talking about. And then I think I said it before, but like the constant thing that you can't like be very active for some time and then suddenly they don't hear from you for months. So I think I actually kind of covered everything. So just to sum it up, what have we been talking about? Or what have I been talking about? So the buyer's journey, everybody goes from awareness to consideration to decision. This journey can take months. And sometimes if you're really good at what you do, you're really good at your sales page, it can take just a few minutes. I mean, I have been on a landing page. I don't even know how I ended up there, but just by reading through and watching the video, and I was like, oh, I need that. And I bought it on the spot. And you know why? Because they did all of what I have been talking about here. So, buyer's journey, awareness, consideration, decision. And we talked about the brain facts. So the brain is self-centered. It's constantly scanning. Is this relevant for me? It's trying to conserve energy, so you need to make it simple. Everybody wants a guide, somebody to show you the way. And people buy from people. So show who you are. And then, of course, the know, like, and trust. So this was kind of the foundation for everything that we will do in the upcoming days. It has not that much to do with the freebie per se, but everything should be based on these things. So this is it. I'm actually done with what I wanted to say. I have no idea how long it took. Half an hour, more than I expected. And I'm happy that you're still hanging on, some of you. So please let me know what you think. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, I would love to know. And talk to you tomorrow. Bye.